Usagi is always Usagi. All right, let's give them another round of applause.
Yeah. About damn time.
Musical chairs, yeah, just scooch down this. Oh, they're on here.
See, it is.
So many Sailor Guardians! All right, we'll let our lovely cosplayers sit back down. We're not ready for audience questions yet, so it's not quite time to line up, so please sit down. We have a couple of questions first. So we're going to get you guys started with some awesome Q&A. So this question is for everybody on the panel. So how did you first discover Sailor Moon?
In Hawaii.
Oh, just now. I don't even remember. I seriously don't remember. I feel like it's like always been there. Is that strange? Yeah, I can't, I mean, it was just always existed in my universe. I don't remember like when I discovered it, seriously.
My brother was watching it on TV and I was maybe 6 or 7, but I remember it distinctly because it was unlike anything I'd ever seen, the animation style, the music, and that was the first time I saw Sailor Moon.
Yay.
I remember when I was a kid, people were watching it in school, and so that was the first time I discovered it. But this was my introduction to anime. This and Pokemon and DBZ, and I thought that those 3 shows were anime. So when I started doing voice acting work, I was like, wait, there's more shows? I thought it was just Sailor Moon and DBZ and Pokemon. This is crazy. But like Stephanie said, it just always existed, and I thought like that. This is anime. Sailor Moon is it. So that was my epitome of anime.
You guys will have to share microphones. There's only a few.
So Sailor Moon was one of those things that I had seen a lot, but I didn't understand it because I saw it when I lived in Germany because my dad was in the Air Force. So I remember I would sit there and I'd watch it, and I had no idea what was going on. I just knew it was like amazing. And like the first episode I saw, I was so confused. I'm like, there's a future, there's this and that. Like, and so I was intrigued by the show. So finally, when we moved back to the States, was when Toonami was coming out. And I got to sit there.
Yeah.
Like, I used to play it in my backyard all the time. And I played as Jupiter, so this is insane.
This is the first time I've seen it, because I think I'm old. So when these guys were watching it on TV, I was probably doing things I shouldn't be talking about. But you guys did a great job. Didn't they do a great job? You're so funny. And is that Ben? It's the Ben. You're such a nut. We love you. But I thought this was great, so yeah, I'm glad it's happening.
I think the first time I saw it was in college. I think that's when I kind of figured it out. Like freshman year of college, I first saw anime for the first time, and like most guys my age, it was DBZ. And it's like we were in the dorms, and it came on, and my roommates were like, "You have to see this. It's freaking crazy!" And so you walk by, and you're like, "Oh, this is wild!" And then you can't stop watching it. These dudes screaming and all this stuff. And then his buddy was like, "Yeah, but do you know about Sailor Moon?" What's Sailor Moon? And then the same thing, a bunch of like 18-year-old dudes sitting around drinking beer, going like, "Yeah, Moon
You know, a friend of mine in college, a male friend, had Usagi's bedsheets.
That's kind of amazing. I just want to say real quick, since we got to watch episode 2, which is really Umino at its finest, we happen to have Ben Diskin came to just watch the episode. Can you just stand up and wave? everything. Yeah, I first heard the recording of that. I was like, man, Emilio's a jerk. Man, that guy. Yeah. Wow, so you all had great experiences with Sailor Moon. Now we're going to talk about a little bit about what we just watched. We go back to the presentation. So what was it like for each of you throughout the casting process? I know things were a little special this time with trying to keep all of you guys under wraps. So tell us what it was like for you. It's a question for everyone.
Okay. So I received the audition, and I immediately went to my boyfriend and was like, Tracy, I got the audition for Sailor Moon, I can't believe it. He said, why are you crying? I don't know. But, so I auditioned, and I did get a call back, and I just try to kind of forget about it after that, and it worked out.
I got the email for the audition, and I freaked out, much like you did, and I was on my way to a convention, and they needed the auditions by the deadline, so I recorded the audition in my car. So when I got the call back, they were like, can we try to make the audio quality like a little bit better? I'm like, yeah, because it was rough. It was in my car, on my iPhone. And then I did the callback, and I was actually in Texas because I was getting married earlier this year, and I actually found out that I was cast in Sailor Moon when I was driving to my rehearsal dinner. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is my wedding present. It was the coolest thing ever. So I like showed up, and I'm getting ready to go rehearse getting married, and I was like, I have something that I can't tell anyone here, but this is so cool. You guys will find out later. It'll be great. So yeah, it was really, really special. It was very exciting.
Yeah, for me it was, I remember it was the first image of Sailor Moon Crystal was released that day? And I was so excited. I was like nerding out about it on Facebook, like, you guys, for Crystal. And then later that day I went hiking and I like checked my phone and they're like, you have an audition. And they're like, it's for the show. And then like, it didn't say in the email, but in the sides, it's like Sailor Moon, Sailor Mars, Sailor Mercury. And I was like, so I was just kind of like, what's happening? So I thought I didn't think they were bringing it to LA. I thought they were recording it somewhere else. I didn't think I'd get an audition. So when I did, I recorded for all of them, like even Queen Beryl and stuff. Like I just had to go through all of it. And I recorded it in my closet, and then I didn't hear anything for like 2 months. So I'm like, okay, I didn't get it. And they're like, hey, are you available for AX if anything were to happen? And then they like taunted me with that for like 2 weeks. And then they're like, sorry about that. Well, because I was like, does that mean I have it? Is it getting close? And then they said, okay, you're in the show. I'm like, great. And then it was another couple of weeks before I figured out who. Yeah. So I'm like, am I Luna? Am I Queen Beryl? I don't know what's happening. So when they were like, oh, your character, Sailor Jupiter, hasn't come in yet. And I was like, hands a lot. Anyway.
Much like all the other girls, I got the audition sides, and I was like, oh, I know what this is, and I was like, oh, but I tried not to get too excited or put too much pressure or, make it too much anything. So, I did my auditions, and then it was a while, and then I got an email from Jamie, and he was like, can you come in for a callback? And I was like, I'm in Hawaii. And I was so bummed. And I couldn't come in for a callback. And I was like, oh, I didn't know what it was for. And I was like, oh, I guess that's it. But then he was like, don't worry about it. I don't think we need a callback. And so, and then when he told me that, he told me I got cast and to save AX, but he never told me what character. And because I know that this property is a big deal and it was extreme NDA, like I was like afraid to even ask, So, and even I think like when Robbie and I realized we were on the same show, we never said the title. We were just like, oh, the thing with the thing, like, and we go around like speaking in codes and on the project that you just auditioned for, then called in for the have to be available for X, that one. Then he never told me until I was in the studio recording, I think, some Naruto, and my first session for this was the next day, and he goes, "Oh, by the way, did I tell you who you're playing?" And I was like, "No." And then he was like, "Oh, you know something?" And I was like, "Oh, wow." It was very, "Oh, wow, okay." I was like, "Oh my gosh." Crazy.
When I bumped into Stephanie, like she said, we were talking about it, and I have to tell you now, I lied to you, because, yeah, I knew who I was. Yes.
I didn't know who I was?
They said to be super secret about it, so I was super secret about it. And I don't know.
Did you know who I was?
Maybe.
I told you he was smooth, guys. You were warned. Yeah, I know a lot of you, I think several of you I'm friends with on Facebook. I remember Christina, like after you found out, you were screen on Facebook, and I just said, "I hope you like red." So any other cool audition stories? Oh yeah, we have Kate.
I don't know, but it's not cool.
You're cool. It's kind of your thing. It's your element. Being cool, you know, ice and stuff.
Oh, there you go.
See what we did there?
Okay, well then, I just sent in the audition, got the job. I didn't have to go to a callback. I am Sailor Mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
No pun intended.
Wow, great. So we have one other question. Go back to the presentation. So, how are you like your respective characters?
I'm very cool.
Yeah. We know Kate is cool as ice. Yeah, ice cold. So, how are you? How are you like your Sailor Guardian?
I am cool. Some people say cold. A little nutty, but very smart. I am very, very smart. I think that's why Jamie cast me. No kidding. Grounded. I'm so grounded. That's what it is. I might not be that much like her. I think I'm a little weirder, like Sailor Moon. But I'm smart, so. Put me in that character, because I'm smart. Isn't she kind of just my voice? It's lower right now just because I'm cool, in case I didn't tell you that. Well, the audition said that, they give us a description of the character, and so mostly for Mercury it said smart, grounded, keeps everybody kind of on task, but a little bit shy. So Stephanie and I were talking about how she said she went too shy with it. So I just kind of, was this person who's smart, and I'm going to talk to you like, I might not know anything, but really I know everything. So I'm going to let you down easy.
So, I think that me and Ray are similar in the fact that we kind of, I don't want to say two personalities because that sounds like something else, but she does really show her true personality to only a select few people, I feel like, and after you've known her for a while, but I think we have that in common, and I really like that she's very spiritual and grounded that way, and I feel like that's also the kind of person that I am. And I like to set things on fire.
Don't give her matches, seriously. It's been a thing.
I think, inwardly, I'm like Usagi because I'm, I try not to show it, but I'm really obsessed with boys and food, and my weight. But I try to keep that all hidden. And I am a klutz.
I'm a lot like Sailor Jupiter because we both were the tallest kid in our class. I was 5'7" when I was in 5th grade. And, I played soccer on all the boys' teams. Not boys' teams, but it was mostly boys. I did play hockey on a boys' team. I was the goalie. So So I definitely had the tomboy aspect, and I love green. But also, what I loved about the character was that she was very tough, but she was also equally as feminine. So like she was just so like, I like to ice skate. I like to, nerd out over cute boys, and like, so I just love that about her. I feel like we both share that. Like we're both feminine, but we're also kick your butt.
It's really hard for me to pick just like a few select words to describe Venus, and I think that's something that we have in common because on some days I'm like a nutcase, and then on some days I'm super girly, and then on some days I am really sassy, and you probably shouldn't mess with me because I might say some hostile things, but it's all in love. So I guess in that way, when I started thinking about well, what is like the one thing about Venus? I'm like, well, there isn't like one thing about Venus. She's kind of well-rounded, and like you don't know what you're gonna get all the time, but she's always gonna do it with love. So I guess that's kind of similar to me in a sense, which has been pretty fun. So. Oh, I love you. Thank you.
I love to be surrounded by women. All right. No, I come from a theater background, so I think on the tuxedo mask part, that's easy. He's fun, he's theatrical, he's definitely he's got a cape. So that part of it was kind of easy. And then, I don't know, I love to tease. I like to tease people. I know it's, and I just kind of like to poke fun at my friends and that sort of thing, but in a loving kind of way. And I think that's a lot of what he does, at least in the first season. He just comes in and teases her and in a caring way, and then saves the day. Ooh, I wish that was more like me, but anyway, I think that's it.
You like to pump Stephanie too, poor thing. And yeah, so everyone's a little bit like their characters. So cool. Yeah. So now we have time, a little bit of time for some. We go back to the presentation, please. Audience question time, so please line up. We only have time for a few questions. Please see our lovely tuxedo mask. Whisper gently into his ear what you want to ask. We have time for just a few questions, and then we will watch Sailor Moon Crystal, and then I see Josh here. Josh saves Christmas right after Crystal.
Yeah! Yes!
For Josh Lopez!
Yeah! There we go! Just saves Christmas!
All right, so
Hallelujah.
I'm going to ask, not just him. We're going to answer some questions, watch some Crystal, and then watch episode 1. Sound good?
That sounds about right.
All right, so what is our first question?
So, I run an anime review show called The American Anime Otaku, so please check that show out. But my question is, how excited were you to actually be able to take the classic show and revamp it for everybody the way it was meant to be shown?
Well, I think everybody is very excited about it from a business point of view. And it's time for one of the absolute greatest anime of all time to be remastered for Blu-ray, finally uncut, finally done the way it was intended to be done, true to the Japanese version. So, I don't know about you guys. I'm excited. Are you guys excited?
Yes.
Yeah, November can't come fast enough. All right. I love your hair.
Thank you. Hi, Mom. I'm doing. Can you use this mic?
Oh.
So my question is, Sailor Moon is such an emotionally weighted series. I mean, look at all these people who love the show, love the comic, love the live action show from 10 years ago. It means so much to so many people, myself included, obviously. So my question is,
to come on and be the new voices and the sort of the new faces for the old show and the new show, what do you find the most daunting and like challenging about picking up this legacy, and what do you find the most liberating?
I actually feel like this show is complete. I don't know. I feel like I'm watching it for the first time when I'm recording. I don't feel like I've ever seen any of the episodes. I guess the dialogue's different. It's not cut, and I'm doing my Mars. I don't think about the other actresses or even the Japanese actress, and I trust the director, and she leads me where I need to go. I lost my train of thought.
Okay, I had something profound too. What I was going to say is that, yes, I think the most difficult thing is if I think too much about what it means and the significance and the importance and so much love and all this, then it's too crazy and I freak out and I'm like, oh, haters, like that. But, so I try not to think about that, and I try to just be true to what I'm doing. And the almost awesome thing about working on this project is everybody here and everybody at this, they all love this property and they just want it to be really great. And so it's very, in that way, it's very liberating and not limiting, because they're letting us play, and they're letting us kind of explore. Yeah, so that's my answer.
And we should give a shout out to our director.
Susie's here!
Yeah, and she's like you said, you are your character in that moment with the guidance of the director. So in terms of in the moment, any weight or baggage or whatever, that doesn't exist. At least not for me. I'm sure not for anybody, or we wouldn't be able to act. But it's an honor. Gosh, I didn't know it was so huge. This is pretty amazing. So.
It's definitely very daunting when you are aware of it and when it shaped your childhood. Like Sailor Moon taught me that girls can save the world too, and that was so profound for me. So it was very daunting to be like, oh, I'm going to play this character, but it's also liberating because I've had years of practice. But it is a little daunting because I'm still very insecure, and I'm like, I hope people like it. And then also the comparisons, between the old dub was better, and I wanted to take a picture with Susan Roman because I listened to her as Sailor Jupiter, so there is a little bit of worry.
Oh, yay!
You suck, she was better, or whatever. But I think it's a new dub. It's a new.
It's the beginning of a new legend. All you Sailor Moon fans get that reference.
It's super, super exciting, just because we all watched it. But like I said, I can't walk in there and think and be like, if I say this line wrong, then thousands and thousands of people are going to hunt me down and murder me. I can't do that. I would go crazy. So I have tried to think about it and say, when I started working on it, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever, because I got to watch it when I was a kid, but I have cousins that are 7 and 10, and they're girls. And like she said, this is a show that I thought, so girls can be beautiful and save the world at the same time? You don't have to be put in a box? There's a full-rounded character of what a girl is. You don't have to pick one or the other. So that's what I loved about the show, and I'm like, this is so cool. I get to be a part of showing it to my younger cousins so that they can see what I saw when I was a kid, and that's a very liberating, exciting thing to be a part of. So if I just hold on to that and trust that our director and this cast and everybody is pushing this project with so much love, I don't think it can go wrong from that aspect. So.
They said it all. You go on and do your best and do your job and try to honor the source material. The source material is so good and it's right there in front of you, and you get to be a part of that. And I think you got to put all the other stuff aside, just like everybody else said, and just enjoy the challenge.
Thank you very much.
All right, now we only have time for 2 more really quick questions, or we won't have time to watch Crystal. So yes, please.
This will be fast. I know that we already heard Stephanie do her transformation card. I'd like if we could hear the other girls do their cards in their voices.
Yeah!
Not everyone has recorded yet. So, it's up. So I think we should just let our leading lady do it. Huh?
Which color do you want? You want the game transformation?
Yeah.
Alright, it's gonna get loud. Ready? Moon Prism Power! Make up!
There we go. Woo!
Alright, our final question, Serenity and Adinion. So nice to see you.
So to find the inspiration for your voices just in practicing, did you at all study any of the works from the previous voice actors for English or even the Japanese?
I did both. So I guess, yes.
For research only, right? Research only.
I mean, for enjoyment purposes.
Of course.
I also bought the Sailor V code name.
Yes! Yes!
I've heard it in so many different dubs because I saw it first in German and in French at my grandparents' house. So it's like I've heard like every version of Makoto there. Not every version, but like it's interesting to hear. They all have certain similarities, but some of them are completely different. So I'm going to try to take the core traits of her, but bring myself to it as well. So.
I actually had to wake up at 4 a.m. to record the audition because I was already traveling and it was a crazy day. But so I didn't go back and listen to any of them. And what I just did was I knew the voice type she had, and so I really just focused on the acting and the attitude.
Yeah.
I listened to a few things, but there have been several voice actresses. So, and I knew that I assumed that they weren't going for a voice match. So it was mostly attitude and kind of like range or like tonal range and whatnot. It went more off of the Japanese.
Wait, you just said, unless they say like a voice match, then I don't ever listen. Because then you will kind of start to maybe do some of that when it isn't natural for you. So I just go off the description and just kind of be that person. Yeah.
All right. Well, guess what, everyone? It's time to watch Sailor Moon Crystal. Give these guys a huge round of applause. And make sure 1 o'clock in the entertainment hall in the autographs area, you can get all of their autographs and meet them in person. So be there. So what we're going to do now, we're going to watch Crystal, episode 1, subtitle, and then on Josh's magic machine here, we're going to watch episode 1 of their lovely work. So, you guys are free to go? Now, if you could roll Sailor Moon Crystal, episode 1.